privacy probably hasn't existed for quite a while. I think it should be noted, however, that as far as I can determine, what the NSA was doing was not reading people's emails and letters per se. What they were doing was passing all, trillions and trillions of bits of data through various complicated screening processes to see if particular code words cropped up in patterns that led the machinery, that led the people to particular people to look at more closely, rather than reading everybody's email. But the larger point, of course, is that there shouldn't be much of a presumption anymore that information is secret or is privately held, even if you think it is.
There's quite an interesting situation developing between Moscow and the U.S., I think, especially if Moscow is going to allow Snowden into the country without a passport.
Well, apparently, as far as I can tell, and the various people are claiming various different things now, the U.S. government revoked his passport, but not before he was allowed to board a plane from Hong Kong to Moscow, where he is now encamped in the transit lounge, or the hotel associated with the transit lounge. And apparently the Ecuadorian authorities have given him travel documents sufficient to allow him to go further. Ecuador, you remember, is also the country whose embassy in London is hosting none other than Julian Assange.
So a very interesting situation with WikiLeaks, once a publisher of secret information, now supporting people like Julian Assange and now Edward Snowden.
Well, WikiLeaks is effectively the creation of Julian Assange, and their express mission has been to release as much material as they can gather. And you remember there were two very large data dumps last year or so. One that was basically material from military sources and operations, and the other one was a much more all-encompassing collection of material, diplomatic cables between the U.S. and its embassies, and so forth and so forth. If Ecuador is Mr. Snowden's ultimate destination, given their track record, Ecuador's that is, with Assange, it seems likely that that's in fact where he'll want to go. Ecuador does have an extradition treaty with the United States, as does Venezuela and does even Cuba, for example. But extradition, that is, the forced return of someone to another country to stand trial for a criminal act, extradition also usually has exemptions built into it on political grounds, and presumably if such a request were made by the U.S. to Ecuador, his presumed destination, they might well retort that it is political in nature rather than criminal.